Welcome to the Hobby to Hustle podcast. I'm Gemma.
And I'm Candace. This is the podcast for creatives run by two fellow business owners who discuss the ups and downs of creative entrepreneurship.
From dealing with imposter syndrome to celebrating new business milestones, we're here to talk about all of them with you.
Hi, welcome back to the Hobby to Hustle podcast. My name is Candace and I'm with Gemma today. In the spirit of Halloween, we're going to be talking about something that gives us business owners a lot of anxiety and fear, also known as negative reviews. Because everyone loves those. No, I'm kidding. So Gemma is in the service industry. I'm in the retail industry in regards to calligraphy and art. And so her feedback versus my feedback is fairly different. Hers is like, you know, about her workshops and her stuff like that. For me, it's more about my artwork and less of myself as a business owner, I guess. So that's the main difference that we're going to focus on today. However, I did talk to Gemma earlier and she has yet to receive her first negative review. So we decided to actually talk about the anxieties of getting a negative review, on her part at least. Gemma, what kind of anxieties do you have when it comes to this?
So I think the fear starts from just starting a business in the first place. I think a lot of people are scared of putting their work out there, whether it's a product or a service, because there's this worry that you're going to receive negative feedback or negative review or a refund request. Like I had visions of customers at my workshops actually getting angry with me. Like I just imagine that they would think, how dare you waste my time? You're clearly not good enough. And I was so scared of getting that negative feedback that I actually felt nauseous the first time I ran a workshop. Like I felt really, really unwell. Thankfully, my adopted cats were being delivered to me later that day, so I had something to look forward to. But yeah, there were a lot of fears I had around just putting myself out there in the first place. And then guess what happened, Candace? People were nice.
Okay,
Candace looked so scared for a minute.
I was like...
No, people were really lovely, and there's still that fear as you're putting yourself out there that you will, like, maybe this workshop will be the one where people are suddenly really mean and that they all complain. But the fear of receiving a negative review lessens with time because you have so much positivity surrounding your business. So if I receive a negative review now, yes, I will probably cry and talk to Candace about it. But I also know that there have been hundreds of students that have joined that have had a good time. So it's all about a balance. And I also want to mention, because I did commissions at one point. We'll talk about commissions in a different episode. But when I was putting my calligraphy out there in that sense as well, I actually put myself in a really awkward position of doing a rush order, and I made a mistake and it was all very stressful. And I didn't know how to handle things with the client properly because I was so scared of a negative review. I basically felt like I was walking on eggshells dealing with a situation that was causing me a lot of stress, because I was so scared of the customer being unhappy. And I guess my point is that, yes, you want your customers happy, but make sure you put your own welfare above delivering a product or service. So I think that is it in terms of being scared of your first negative review. Candace has received negative reviews because she's an awful business owner. No, Candace has received negative reviews probably because she's on Etsy. And I think Etsy encourages people to leave reviews, which can also mean that people are not always as friendly. I don't know. What do you think, Candace? Does Etsy... Well, it just encourages reviews in general, right?
Yeah. Well, before I get into that, As you were talking about this, I just thought of another question. Mm-hmm. Would you prefer to get a negative review or feedback right then and there in person? Or would you prefer it if they went home and then emailed you?
I guess it depends on what it's about. I think it depends. If it was at the end of a workshop and they spoke to me privately, I think I'd like to talk to them then, and you can gauge and talk through things with them. But I wouldn't like for someone to be very negative in front of other customers. I think that would be the wrong vibe for everyone.
I think I would also prefer to get that negative review like there than deal with the anxiety of getting their email, figuring out what to say, and then waiting for their reply.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's worse.
There's nothing worse than sending a scary message and waiting for that reply. Yeah, I'd rather deal with it in the moment. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, I just thought about that. I was like, would I rather deal with this issue on Etsy messages, or like if I was able to talk to that person? A lot of the times I would rather talk to the person, because just waiting for that message back is pretty terrible. So yes, Gemma is right. I have received not fair bit, but like I can count on my hands how many negative reviews I've received. Some of which that aren't really my fault. Not some, just one or two. Not really my fault, but it is what it is. You have a business. It's regarding shipping things. So that's that. There's no control over that. The other things that I've received negative reviews for is just overall quality of the product. However, it is quite confusing because sometimes I get reviews that have really nice comments, but then it's like a 4 out of 5. So I can't say that it's a negative review because technically it's not a negative review. It's an 80%. But in my perspective, that's a negative review just because I'm harsh to myself like that. Like,
yeah, I did get my first 4-star review recently, and it was very complimentary. And then it was 4 stars. So I was like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, right. Wait, but do you see it as a negative review though?
I know logically I shouldn't see it as a negative review because there are always people that think there's room for improvement, or maybe because it wasn't a Taylor Swift concert. I don't know. There's always something more interesting that they could be doing that would deserve 5 stars. But yeah, it didn't hurt, but I definitely prefer 5-star.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm always thinking to myself, I'm like, it's not bad, but it's not great. It's kind of like you're wondering, where did I screw up? So that's how I feel when I get that kind of review. When
I used to complain to my mum that maybe I didn't get an A on a test, and she was like, but you could have studied a bit harder, couldn't you? And she was right. And I was like, oh, okay, mum. So in that circumstance, I could have worked a bit harder, but it's kind of someone saying, oh, well, you could have done better though.
You could have done better.
You could have just pushed yourself a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, every time I get a negative review, again, it's not that many. Like, I think I've gotten like 7 non-5-star reviews or so. It's sad that I know, but it has to be around under 10, because if I get more than 10, I would be full-blown panicking in my business, just in general. There was one time where it was my fault, and it was like a 2 out of 5 or a 3 out of 5, something like that. No, I think it was a 3 out of 5, and it was a washi tape. And since washi tapes are in like tubes, and then in their tubes there's 14 individual ones, I only checked the first one that arrived. I didn't check the other 99, because you can't. They're all heat shrunk wrap.
Yeah.
You
can't.
And
do that.
So I guess I should have checked once in a while, and I ended up shipping out a bad quality washi tape. On the outside, it looked fine. It was when they started using it that it was like not good. So I got my first like 3 out of 5 for that washi tape, and then I got a second one shortly afterwards, and I was like, what's this, the same washi tape? And then I went to check my product, and I saw what the issue was, but they never wrote what the problem was.
Oh, they did. They didn't specify.
No,
oh, okay.
no,
I thought
just
they
wrote
said,
3 out of 5.
not sticky. Oh, that's annoying.
I just guessed. I just thought they didn't like it because that was one of my top selling designs.
Yeah.
And so I was like, is there something wrong with the quality? That shouldn't be it. Because then I had my own that I've already opened up before, and that had no issue. It was the most, like, that one tube had problems, and now I'm paranoid that they all have issues, so I took it down. But I had to guess what they were doing, like, what they were not happy with, which comes to what I consider is a good constructive feedback. I want to know what your opinion on good constructive feedback is. If someone were to give you feedback and it was not a great one, how would you prefer to receive it? I'm not talking about the verbal or email, but like, what would you prefer them to say?
As in, what specific feedback, or how would...
Let's say I went to a workshop and I have a complaint about the actual content. Like, I'm not happy with the amount of content that I received or the way you, I think, taught, right? Yeah, okay. Let's say I feel like that and I feel like I wasted money on you. How would a customer relay that to you as a consumer? How would they relay that to you in an effective way? How would you prefer them to, like, what to say?
So, for example, like, hi, Gemma, I recently attended your workshop. I just wanted to mention that I was a bit disappointed because the content we covered during the workshop wasn't what I was expecting, because on your marketing materials you mentioned this, and this, but actually I don't feel we covered that. So I think it would be the underlying issue with the content. Is it that they were unhappy that I was teaching them modern calligraphy? Were they unhappy that we were learning with brush pens rather than pointed pens and they just assumed we were using pointed pens? Did they feel that we rushed through certain parts and then other parts dragged on? So I think just being as specific as possible would be helpful. And another example...
So if you were a student...
If I was a student...
Yeah, like if you were someone else's student, that's how you would write a negative review. Okay. Yeah,
I'd probably message them. Well, it depends how big a deal I felt it was. But something as a teacher I find helpful to know is feedback about the venue as well. For example, to be fair, I'm quite conscious of what makes a good venue. But if my students at the other end of the table are struggling to hear me, I mean, I can kind of pick on visual cues if someone's like leaning because they're straining to hear or something. But if they were struggling to hear me, I would quite like that feedback. Or if they said, oh, actually the music they have on is really distracting. I was at a venue where we were next to the kitchen and obviously there were lots of dishes like crashing together and yeah. So I'm conscious of that as a teacher, but say, for example, if I hadn't picked up that it was frustrating people, that would be helpful to know. So I think it's always good to have some constructive feedback if it might not be something that that person's aware of.
Yeah, like I think feedback is good feedback. Sorry, I feel like negative feedbacks are positive ones when there is good constructive criticisms. Like there are shit ones, and I'm just gonna say like your product is shit, and then 1 out of 5. Like, okay, what?
There will be
what
people,
about it is
there will be people that are haters.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you'll come across them often, but there will just sometimes be people that don't like you, don't like your product. I actually have names for people like this. I won't specify the names, but there was an incident a few years ago where I'd met this colleague. It was like a loose connection. And then I found out she was essentially bitching about me behind my back, saying she couldn't stand me and that I was so annoying. And I was like, what? I've not even spoken to you. And so now when I think of haters, I actually, in my head, think of them as that person, like their name. So, yeah, sometimes I think that's quite cathartic. If you've had someone in your own life that is just a bit of a meanie, you can just think of this negative customer as just that person.
Yeah. And a lot of times, at least in person, for restaurants and stuff, people typically don't leave positive reviews. They only leave negative reviews because, you know, negativity kind of like heightens your emotions and you're just, I didn't complain about this. And so a lot of times I read restaurant reviews that are like somewhat constructive, but for products like mine, what I would consider constructive is if you, one, I can see what you bought, so that helps.
If they say, I bought a washi tape, and then you have...
Which one?
Yeah.
I can definitely see which washi tapes they bought, so that definitely helps. But to let me know, like for example, if I bought a washi tape from someone and I was not happy with it, like let's say the quality, then I would say things like, oh, the washi tape is a lot more translucent than what I saw in the product photos. I tried it in different, like, maybe I'll mention, like, how I used it. So, like, oh, I put it in my planner, and I can really see through the dots in my planner, like, because I have a dotted planner. I would be like, oh, I can really see the dots, and the coloring is not as vibrant as I saw it in the photos. There is a bit of, I don't know how to say this, but there is a bit of confusion. Not confusion. How do I say it? Okay, Etsy, on a lot of descriptions, you'll notice that the shop owner will put a disclaimer saying color of the blah, 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 blah may be different due to your screen monitor and da, 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 da. So I don't know if that's
I have
a me issue.
Something to say about this, because I used to work in promotional products, which was all about branding. So the logo had to be printed exactly on promotional products such as mugs and t-shirts and stuff, and it gets quite complicated. Mm-hmm. But your screen can really impact what you see. So, for example, there was a customer that was referencing a post-it. She was like, oh, I'll have this post-it, the one with the leaves. And I was like, what does she mean, the one with the leaves? It's plain. And what I realised is that if I stood to the side of my monitor, I could see leaves, whereas when I was facing it, I couldn't see the leaves. So screens can...
Wait, what?
So, yeah, imagine looking at your monitor at a slightly different angle, and then suddenly Dino appears. Or Kit. I did not know that was a thing. But it goes to show that, you know, just the angle you look at the monitor, and again with colour grading, that is a huge thing on monitors. So you want to put disclaimers about, you know, colour issues on things like Etsy.
Yeah.
I mean, when I worked in that industry, we were very cautious about colourings and things like that. But it just goes to show that even if you're careful, occasionally there could be things that catch you out. So just be cautious and put disclaimers in, not just about the colour things, but also just general, I guess, refund policies to cover your back. Because I have refund policies as well about my workshops. I don't want people not showing up and then trying to claim their money back. Because that would be annoying, because I've prepared all the materials and stuff. But
yeah, we have an episode on dealing with negativity. It's episode 2 of our entire podcast, so you guys can scroll back to see how we dealt with negativity. And because today all we're talking about is mostly just how we feel about them. I still consider it as good constructive feedback if someone told me that the color that they see in person is different from the one that they see on screen, because technically that's still kind of my fault. I also have to remember, like, on a monitor there's a lot of light that's coming through. Like there's literally a backlight that brightens up the stuff. So that's why I'm like, oh, okay, well, technically it's my fault because I feel like I should put a description on that. Kind of like I had this washi tape that had calligraphy on it. And because I got a good constructive negative feedback, I was able to put another disclaimer on there saying that I received a review saying that this calligraphy washi tape is not that clear in writing. So this is something I want you guys to consider before purchasing. If I did not get that negative feedback, I could have gotten a much worse review. Like, because I think they gave me like a 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, which is really good considering that they cannot read what's on the washi tape, which is the main thing. So because of that, I was able to put another description. So they really do help. So when I'm leaving a negative review, I always try to say, okay, am I being an asshole right now? Or is this actually good feedback that I'm giving? Like that's kind of, I feel like it's different though because we're business owners. Do you think that skews the way you think and how you write reviews?
I think it does. I always try to leave positive reviews for people now if I've had a good experience, because I know they are really helpful from a business owner perspective. And yeah, in terms of positive reviews, you should think of ways to encourage positive reviews so that if you do end up with a negative review, it's more likely to be balanced out. So I have taught hundreds of students, and you can tell I'm starting to get hyped up because my hands are moving, but I only have 11 reviews and that is since trying to push people to leave reviews for the last 6 months or so. More than that, actually. So if I were to receive, a 1-star review, suddenly my rating would look awful despite hundreds of people having good experiences. So really try to push people to leave positive reviews to try counteract that when it does happen. I think it will happen eventually. Fingers crossed I get some more positive reviews in by then. Yeah.
Wait, when you buy something, let's say it's online, and obviously you don't know what the product is actually like, do you do that thing where you filter it to like the lowest rating? Like you see the negative reviews first, like the 1 stars? Like let's say you were to buy a notebook.
Yeah, say if I was going to buy a product and it had less than kind of 4.5 stars, I would probably scroll down to see the mixture of reviews, and then I would look at negative reviews to see if there was a consistent piece of negative feedback. So in the case of a notebook, if there was lots of ghosting on the pages and all the negative comments were saying that, like, the ghosting is really bad, then I can make a decision whether that's right for me. If I read that someone, like, it never arrived, I think that person...
I just filter that out.
Yeah, I'm like, that is not worth leaving a review about.
That's something you message them about.
Yeah. You know what makes me laugh is on Amazon when you see people responding to the questions, like,
oh yeah,
why are you asking me this question? I did not use this product. And it's like, what colour is this product? Why are you asking me? I just always find that really funny.
I don't know if people know how to use that properly.
I think the demographic on Amazon is perhaps not the most tech savvy all the time.
So it triggers when you buy the product.
Yeah, so I've had emails like that saying people are asking this question, but I wouldn't then click through and say, I don't know the answer to this question.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
no.
Have you not seen those types of... Yeah, people saying, I don't know.
Yeah, I have.
Oh,
and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just makes me laugh. Speaking of laughter, to kind of end off our spooky episode, check out Small Biz Memes on Instagram. You are guaranteed to laugh. Essentially, it is
negative reviews.
It is an account on Instagram all about negative reviews and the small biz owner experience, and it's kind of the humorous side of dealing with negativity, because some complaints on there are wild. I can't think of some off the top of my head, but go on there, follow them immediately, and have a good laugh at some of the things people say. Do you have anything else before we wrap up this episode?
I don't think so. So once again, today we talked about just how we in general feel about negative reviews, and as the consumer, not thinking about as a business owner, how we would write negative feedback. That's to ensure that they're good and constructive. That sentence made no sense, but I hope you guys got what I was saying.
I got what you were saying.
And if you guys want to know about how we deal with negative reviews or negativity in general, then check out our second episode of this podcast. It is episode 2 called Dealing with Negativity. So that episode we talk about actually like as the business owner, what you guys should do with the feedback that you have just received and stuff like that.
And don't forget to message me on Instagram to let me know what you would like to hear about, because we still have kind of an open schedule in terms of what we're talking about. So now is the time, if you want to hear us talk about something specific, to let us know what that is. And that wraps up this episode. Thank you everyone for listening. We will be back in 2 weeks. Bye everyone.
Bye.